Hey, we're standing right in front of the backstage by the Mail rock venue, which is right next door to the Moulin Rouge Cabaret in Paris's Pigalle red light district. The Moulin Rouge has been closely linked to the bohemian lifestyle of the late 19th century. Artists such as Toulouse-Lautrec spent countless nights there in a haze of absinthe, drinking, dancing, and catching venereal diseases from women of loose morals. That's pretty rock and roll. Tonight, Absu is playing in Paris, celebrating 30 years of their seminal work, The Sun of Tiphareth. We got to sit down with Absu frontman and mastermind, Proscriptor McGovern, as well as Vorskaath of Greece's Zemial, to discuss the tour, the anniversary, and the state of black metal in 2025. Enjoy. We're here with Proscriptor McGovern of Absu, and let's get this started. So 30 years of the Sun of Tiphareth. Obviously, there's a demand for this anniversary tour. What gives this album such lasting relevance in 2025?
The project, it came to realization mode last year when we were asked to play a couple of festivals, but 2025 marking the 30th anniversary for Absu's second album within the discography, I asked none other than the members of Zemial to join me as the rhythm section to commemorate or memorialize the 30th year for this second album. So it all started in the early part of February, and we're going to round it off at the end of the year. So it's been 11 full months of touring and festival appearances, which have been rather opulent.
Awesome. There were legal complications that forced you to operate under a different name.
Oh,
Absu. Have these issues been resolved, or is that still?
Yes, that has been resolved. So it's basically there was one album that was under the moniker Proscriptor McGovern's Absu, and that had to do with contractual disagreements between a few different record labels. So mostly I had to not call it ABSU, but under my pseudonym and ABSU, which was actually going to be the name of that ABSU album. So it's a very long, convoluted story, but anyway.
Okay.
Back to ABSU.
So when the Sun of Tiphareth came out in 1995, extreme metal was seeing major releases from bands like Behemoth, Immortal, Death, Deicide. Were you aware of what your peers were doing, or was Absu operating in a vacuum?
No, it was a very enthralling and exciting time for black metal as a whole, especially being associated with the label roster of Osmos Productions in France, housing such bands as Immortal, Impelled Nazarene, Absu, Necromantia, Marduk, amongst others. So yes, we were very aware of our peers, but what was very invigorating and enthralling at the time was Absu was the only American band associated with such a prominent black metal label during that time, so things were very earth-shattering.
Did it require any mental adjustment diving back into these 30-year-old songs? You were very young when you wrote them. Would you write them and play them the exact same way today?
I probably would, yes. I would, yes. Nothing's changed as far as my dynamics of composition and song arrangement. So I'd say I still have the same craft and style within my songwriting technique.
Okay, as we all know, you no longer handled the drums live. What motivated that switch towards focusing entirely on vocals? It's during the show, did you get the itch to...
Yeah, as well as that's been a rather infamous question that's been asked to me throughout the entire year. So I still am a drummer.
Yeah.
But due to major back surgery that I encountered 15 years ago, the physicians told me it'd be best if I didn't play live. But since I was a drummer vocalist in simultaneous mode for so many years.
That's gotta be hard. Singing and playing, no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
I'm very enthralled, and I do enjoy being the front man and singing, but I'm still drumming just in the studio aspect.
Writing music.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of drums, there's a video of your Slayer audition online in which you perform Hell Awaits with Kerry King, along with Postmortem and Raining Blood. Can you walk us through how this opportunity arose? Did you submit a recording first? Were there multiple rounds? How far into the process did you go?
Okay, so in the early portion of 2002, Slayer was holding auditions for drummers in only 3 cities in the U.S. And I still remember, they were San Francisco, California, Aurora, Illinois, and Dallas, Texas being the hometown for myself and Absu. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity for the audition. So what I had to do is Slayer's management gave me a list of 12 songs to play simultaneous to within a video.
Yeah.
So I recorded myself playing drums simultaneously with the audio. Their management saw it. The band was impressed, and then they selected me for one of the final auditions. So I had to choose during the final audition with just Kerry King. To make a long story short, Kerry asked me to pick 4 out of the 12 songs that I submitted to the management company. And those were the songs. So first more
Hell Race is one of the hardest, no?
yeah,
That's like 7 minutes of...
Well, I kind of stumbled at the end of the song because there was only one guitar when I'm so used to dual guitar parts, especially toward the end of the composition. But anyway, Kerry King asked me to select 4 out of the 12 songs. And those were the songs: Fest Warner, Ren and Blood, Disciple, and Hell Awaits.
Wow.
Yeah.
A recurring thread in your work is your engagement with Sumerian, Mesopotamian, or Celtic mysticism, as well as occult studies more broadly. How did that begin for you? Was there a book that you read, or a movie, or some event that sparked your interest?
Well, my vast intrigueness with Thelemic magic, occult sciences, Gnosticism, and mythology started at a very early age, at the age of 12, and also with Kabbalah and certain forms of ceremonial magic. So it all started at a very young age for me. And I've always incorporated into the music and lyrical conceptions of Absu's music.
There's a ritualistic element to Absu, musically, lyrically, and visually. How much of that reflects personal practice, and how much belongs to the symbolic language of the band?
All of it is a part of my everyday existence. So what is implemented into the lyrical conceptions of Absu is part of everyday life as well, in a magical essence.
Absu has played Paris several times over the years in clubs like Le Gibus, Club du Noir, and the Glace Art. Do any particular memories stick out from these shows you did in Paris?
Yeah, especially the first one in 1995, because Absu's very first European appearance was in Paris.
Oh, so Leo had...
Yeah, so every time I come back to Paris, it always has a very special and significant meaning to me, especially being our first European appearance in 1995 in Paris, and it was such a grandiose show. It really was. Yeah.
The term black metal often evokes a specific sonic palette. Absu's always pushed beyond that with elements of thrash, punk, progressive music, and more. Looking back, do you feel that this eclectic approach strengthened the band or complicated its reception?
You know, Absu has always classified the style as mythological occult metal, which is a concoction between black, death, thrash, progressive rock music, and psychedelic elements as well. So my aim and objective has always been to blend those styles together to become what we are today with mythological cult metal.
Okay, well, we're gonna wrap things up. Is there anything you want to tell the French fans who are coming to the show tonight or on the tour?
Paris has always had a special place in Absu, like I said, being our first European appearance. And every time that we've returned to Paris, it's always been a grandiose and arcane experience, and looking forward to slaying and slaughtering this evening.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see you guys ring the doors tonight. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, we're sitting with Vorskaath of Zemial, and let's just dive into the interview. How did this fusion of Absu and Zemial come about? You've been in each other's orbit for a long time, reported together, but how did you get together originally? How did it lead to this unholy union?
Well, we first of all, our contact began in 1991, and initially with Ecotent of Absu and myself, and then with Proscriptor, and we've kept a very, very close contact. We've had a great friendship for a long, long time. We first met in person in 2009 in Germany at the Festung Open Air Festival. And in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, Absu played in Greece with us, and it was the first time where we invited Proscriptor to get on stage with us, and we played Sleeping Under Tartarus together. So that was officially the first time we played together live. And then we also had him join us in the Ukraine. We did a couple of shows there, and in Scotland, and in MDF in 2019. And then we discussed a project for the anniversary of the Sun of Tiphareth. Originally, there was no lineup for Absu, so we were going to do. Proscriptor had an offer, and he couldn't take it, and he asked if we could do the Zemial shows instead with him on vocals. And then on a phone call, we discussed it, and we said, "You think maybe we could try?" It was leading to the idea of, do you think we could try and sort of put this together as an Absu Zemial union? And we just tried it, and it went down a storm. It was perfect understanding. I mean, we've had that since the very first time we've played together on stage. We have perfect understanding, perfect chemistry. Imagine that so far in all the performances we've done, we haven't rehearsed once.
Wow.
Not once.
It's incredible.
It just works on stage. We know what we do. We have the same kind of understanding of how things should be done. We've discussed things. Our first ever meeting and the first time we played together in MDF, we had a rehearsal at a cafe where we basically sat down for breakfast and had a chat about different parts and how we should approach them. And that was that.
Could you introduce the rest of your band to us? Who plays what and what are their backgrounds?
Yeah, my brother is back in the band now, playing bass. Okay, I have a couple of bass players. My brother is mainly responsible and known for the band Agatus, and we've been playing together for just as many decades. He's played in Zemial for many, many years, and we've done touring together and recordings together. And every now and then he jumps back into the project. This is one of those cases. So now we've got Agatus in the fold as well.
Awesome.
I've got Ensorg on guitar, which has been working with me since 2016. And we've got a couple of other guys that are flown in at various points when we shuffle the lineup about. And that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you discover the Sun of Tiphareth at the time of its release? And what impact did it have on you and Zemial, which was already releasing albums at that time?
Well, no, actually, I didn't discover it at the time of its release. I discovered it at the time of its being composed and rehearsed. So my contact with those guys, it was so close that we very frequently exchanged. I mean, we wrote to each other extensively, very regularly, and they were sending me tapes of their rehearsals. So I know the Sun of Tiphareth from its embryonic stages.
And this was before email, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. This was all, handwritten correspondence. So I've got rehearsal tapes with the Sun of Tiphareth, how it all came about. There was no vocals back then. So I've known the music in its development stages before it was even released. So playing the album is something that, I understand it from its roots onwards,
Yeah. So this is the early part of the tour with Ancients and Trivax. How did this jaunt come about? Who put this package together? Were you familiar with the other acts on the bill?
Right, so I was familiar with Ancient from whatever they'd done, a 7-inch or something like that back in the day. That's what I remember. Not familiar with Trivax because I don't keep in touch with the scene.
Yeah.
We didn't put the package together. The booking agent did. And we've just met the guys in the bus. Had a blast from the very first moment.
Everyone gets along, no drama.
There's not a single bit of drama at all. In fact, we when the guys from Trivax arrived, particularly, the conversation was derailed within 2 seconds. We were in stitches. And it's been like that every day. Great conversations, lots of laughing, serious conversations. Awesome feeling of camaraderie. Everyone helps each other. It's a really great group of people, put together. Very nice. We've got a nice a person traveling with us, Jessica, for merchandise. And we've got a great tour manager as well. Big D.
Dieter.
Yeah.
So the music on tonight's album and Absu's music in general is rather intricate and rigorous. Was it challenging for you to learn some of these songs? How long was I guess there was no rehearsal, as you mentioned.
No, there's no...
Learned it with the CDs or...
Well, Russ had sent us the separate tracks, so, I learned all the parts just by listening to the tracks. And I decided to learn them note for note.
Wow.
So,
no improvising or no touch?
Well, that's the thing. So when we first started the project, I said, look, how do you want me to approach this? Do you want me to improvise? And he said, yes, I would like you to sort of put your own flair. He said, I want you to put the Vorskaath flair into the drumming. And when I considered that, I thought, well, understanding that fans of the album would come to watch this, they wouldn't be coming to watch me.
A different version.
Yeah, going off on the drums. And I thought, as a fan, I think what I ought to do is to represent the music as it was so that people can really get the original experience. And I did exactly that, which felt great. And there are moments, I've just kept a little bit of improvisation, just a few different feels for the last song, Never Blow Out the Eastern Candle. That's where I just play a little bit more and just vary a couple of things. That's it, really.
Cool. So you've been a part of the Greek extreme metal scene for nearly 4 decades, with influential work in Zemial as well as bands like Agathos or Verathron. How has the scene, that pre-punk scene, evolved over time?
Having been out of it for so long, I don't know. I know that a lot of people, younger generations, are beginning to look into the Greek scene and understand what a valuable underdog that was. Because, the Greek scene is very much like something that's totally self-made. There was no budgets, there was no government support, there was no media, there was nothing like that, It was totally the force of will to be able to play and to keep doing what we were doing, because there was no equipment either. It was very poor. And we were very young. And I think it's had a significant impact on the global black metal scene. And it's good to know that younger generations are beginning to pick up on it, as well as older people begin to look into that. I don't know what's going on, really, in Greece. I've lost touch for a long, long time.
Well, then beyond Greece, the international scene, are there any current artists in black metal or extreme metal that
that caught your ear that you?
There is one. There is one. I don't follow the scene, so I've stopped following the scene for decades now. But there is a band called Malo Karpatan from Slovakia, and they're very much the direct ancestor.
Again, Manu.
Malo Karpatan,
Okay.
which is they're very much a mixture of Master's Hammer
Yeah.
and Merciful Fate. Excellent combination. Awesome music. Like it's the, as I said, I don't really follow the scene, and I happened across their music. Somebody said, "Hey, check this out," something like that, and I listened to it, and I thought I was really taken aback. It was as if it jumped out of the '90s, but it was done very authentically. It wasn't pretentiously done like that. It was very authentically done like that. Instantly, I was hooked, and so much so that I actually wrote to the main guy, Adam, and I said, "Look, man, I love your music. Congratulations, great stuff." And he said, "Well, it's interesting that you write to me because Zemial and Negative are one of two of my biggest influences, particularly on the latest album. And as it happens, I'm doing a recording for them for their new album now. They're a standout for me. And there's also a French band called Dionysiac, since we're in France.
Yeah.
I was in touch with a vocalist, and they sent me the advance tape of their album, recorded at a friend's studio as well. Great sound, a band playing together, which used to be a rare thing these days. When you record, everyone's cutting and pasting and so on. These guys seem to have played live. Awesome natural sounds, great compositions, really sort of thinking about the compositional aspect. I'm glad those bands exist, to offer something new, because it's the reason I don't listen to this kind of music anymore is simply because I feel that it's become too saturated. There's not a lot of originality, not in composition and not in sound, so I don't really follow it. But there's those little examples that pop up every now and then. I don't follow and I don't look for them, but I know they exist. Those are just a couple.
Now, with Absu being an American band from Texas and Zemial is European, do you see tangible differences in how each scene approaches black metal? Or do certain similarities stand out?
Well, the guys from Absu always had a European mentality, and I think that's the first thing that connects us. They were completely different as people in the way that they looked at their music and their presentation to the American scene. That instantly connects us naturally. The lyrical subject matter also is something that connected us, and that was in fact one of the first things that connected us. As for the entire scene, well, the USA is an entirely different kettle of fish. Pros and cons in every kind of scene, but the USA, the way it works as a scene, the way organization of concerts work, and the way the fans respond is an entirely different thing to how it is in Europe. I'd say the fans generally are very, very warm, very welcoming in the States. Maybe they're not as saturated by metal as some European fans are.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of touring, obviously, happening in Europe. But in terms of concert organization, the USA is dismal. It's dismal. It's really, it's the gap between excellence and shit is enormous. So there can be excellent gigs, but the general organization is really low. Whereas in Europe, the average standard is pretty good. Doesn't matter what country you play in, the organization is solid. The what you can expect from concert organization is pretty good. In the States, it's a surprise every day. You imagine?
A lot of people are talking about artificial intelligence these days. Are you interested in that at all? Do you see potential uses in composition, writing, or visual design, or is that just something that should be kept out of the music?
That's an incredible topic, and I've heard a lot of people talk about that. A lot of artists understandably feel threatened because they've created a certain work, and AI draws from that without giving them credit to create something that's equally as nice or similarly nice, and so on. So there's many sides to look at that from. And I understand, I mean, if AI is studying the music of Pink Floyd and the Beatles and creating masterpieces of that caliber whilst drawing on that kind of compositional style, and some guy that's programmed to study that is actually making it, that's absurdly unfair, yeah? But I do choose to look at it as a tool that's not flawless, by the way. You have to be really stupid to think it's flawless, but as a tool. For example, wanting to better my own compositional skills, I have had, I've done some research through AI on particular chord patterns and particular instrumentation. So it's very much like a tool that I use to school myself with.
Okay.
Okay, I have an absolute love for Genesis, particularly in the 70s work. And the chord progressions that Tony Banks came up with are just incredibly extraordinary, beautiful, and very unexpected, and quite complex and rich in their content. So as a very basic writer, I don't necessarily hear that and understand the full structure of something like that. So I've used AI to help understand what the movements are, how rich the chords, exactly how rich the chords are, the kind of instrumentation, and just study it in a bit more depth.
Right. So what's in store for Absu and Zemial beyond this tour? Will the lineups remain united? I'm guessing they will. Any new music on the horizon?
Well, this is very much a union that's specifically formed for the celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Sun of Tiphareth. So at the end of this tour, it's over. It's come to an end. We are considering the possibility of a few separate shows, not a tour, but individual shows in the next year. And there has been discussion for the year after, but that's completely in the air at the moment. For me, it's better if we just say that the project comes to its conclusion on the 15th of December. It's been a wonderful, long year. We've traveled all over the place, seen all sorts of things, been in all sorts of situations. Great. Let's close it nicely. Think about it after that.
Okay. Black and death metal have rarely been commercial genres. In the current music economy, how do artists in this field sustain a career? What are the most viable revenue streams for projects like Absu or Zemial? Is it merch, touring, actual album sales? I'm guessing it's not Spotify.
It's really pertinent that you mentioned this, because we had a good discussion about this very matter last night in the bus. Heavy metal, particularly this genre, or underground extreme metal, has always been labeled by record labels and by booking agents and concert agents as underground, and there's no money to be made. If you've done it yourself for a while, you realize there is. You're just not taking it. Okay? So there's always money to be made in heavy metal. It doesn't matter how you look at it, there's always money to be made. It's just that if you fall for the story of there's no money, it's an underground thing, you go along. A lot of bands feel happy to have their works released or to play with another band or tour without understanding exactly how much there is to be made and what the shares of the people organizing and the labels actually are. That's why those people are sustaining themselves and artists are not.
Yeah.
Okay, which is an incredible paradox, because record companies and concert promoters sustain their work. And this is a gross generalization. This doesn't go across the board for everybody. It's just generalization for the purpose of the discussion. But record companies sustain themselves wonderfully for decades, and the bands that they work with make fuck all in terms of money.
Yeah.
And current contracts include taking a band's digital rights so that a record company suddenly can claim a band's royalties from internet streaming, which is absurd. Ways of revenue. Well, not wanting to be part of that machine and those cogs, I work independently, so I live from my music, modestly, but I do live from my music because I sell my own stuff. So anybody that buys a Zemial CD or a T-shirt or who buys the music, I own the whole thing, and it all comes to me. That supports me directly. I really would urge bands, and I always have, to take the step to take care of themselves. Because even if you sell a lot less, you will actually make some money to help you continue. And then if you promote enough, or if your music is good enough, the promotion would also happen just by word of mouth, just like it always used to be. There's a whole lot of creative ways to make revenue from sales of all sorts of things. But it's also really important, I think, if we're talking about this, and particularly in terms of people that might be interested in getting into this, it's the secondary thing. And it always ought to be the secondary thing. It's art. You need to make whatever makes you happy. You need to be content, and you need to be doing it for yourself. If you're doing this to satisfy people, you will always disappoint. There's going to be a portion that will always love it and a portion that will always hate it. You cannot win that game. So you need to be satisfied with what you do. After that, whatever happens, if people support you, you'll feel that because they'll buy your merchandise if you make it available to them. It's a pretty crazy state of affairs these days. I think artists seem to be struggling incredibly. Not that they were ever amazingly well off, but they seem to be struggling a lot now. So I think the only thing that's left is really to be true to yourself and enjoy the process, rather than think about it for the money. And if you do want to follow it as a career path, then you need to start looking at independence. Independence is the only way you're going to make everything you deserve on your own. If you've got collaborators, people that work with you, no worries. Give them a percentage. Don't let them take everything from you.
Words of wisdom.
And feel, because that's the story that's sold. I'll release your thing. I'll book you, and you'll be lucky. Well, man, you can do the work yourself, and it's not a matter of luck. It's just hard work. But then you own it, and you're your own boss, you know. And this is a really serious topic. You can go in great depth for this, but and it's one of those things that is killing the music. It's seriously killing the music if you think about it, because how many bands get disillusioned and disappointed because they work so hard without it being their main job. They work hard, they give a lot of their personal time, they pay money to go to studios, buy instruments, pay for rehearsals, do whatever, and another party takes the majority of their income because they feed them a story of it's underground, there's no money. You have to be careful.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Zemial played in Paris once about 7 years ago at a venue called Le Club, a small underground venue in the Châtelet area. Do you have any memories from that gig or from when you were in Paris or France?
Yeah, well, I do have lots of memories from France. France was fantastic. We had a great time in France. The Paris gig was insane. It was a kind of underground catacomb kind of place.
Yeah, there's like 2 basements. And out of here, you put it down.
Yeah, exactly. That was crazy. Very nice, but all in all, when I think of the French tour of 2017, it was just hilarious. We had a great time, got along with the French fantastically well, ate great food, and also took our chances with, Munster, the cheese?
Mm-hmm.
We opened a backstage we let it get a bit of air. Who could have imagined that hours later you could not walk in backstage, and the crew the next day, the people from that are in the venue, complained because the stench was just right.
I think this was in the summer.
It was in spring, I believe.
Okay.
But man, the stench was unreal. The taste was phenomenal. If you would dare enter the chamber to cut a bit of that cheese, but getting into that chamber to cut a bit of that cheese a few hours later was virtually impossible. Anyway, hilarious, awesome place. I love France. I love the food of France. Yeah, it's great, man. It's great. I regret only that with the time schedule we have, we're not going to see much of Paris at all.
Fancy restaurants.
I regret to say that we don't. It's like we go from one city to the next, and we've got very little time in between. And I'm also trying to help the other bands as much as possible get their stuff together. There's really little time left. It's one of those tours. But it's great to be here, and it feels like there's a good mood in the air tonight. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thanks for your time. I've already taken up too much of it, but I appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you kick ass tonight.